Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Sayati. How are you?
Good, ma'am. How are you?
I am also good. Thank you. Good evening, children. Shall we start now?
Yes, ma'am.
Turn on the video, children. Turn on the videos.
Good.
Okay, so last time we did some of the MCQs question related to the microorganisms, the Olympiad questions. Now we'll be starting again back to the crop production chapter. So we have discussed already about the ploughing, leveling, then tilling also we have discussed. Then we have discussed about the sowing of the seeds, how we should do that. Then the nutrients, what are the different types of the nutrients we have discussed. Manures, fertilizers, the advantages of the manures and the disadvantage of the fertilizers and the differences between the both. So till here we have discussed all the things. Now we will be starting with the next topic, which is about the irrigation. So irrigation is a very, very common process which is actually required for all the kinds of the crop, be it the flowers, be it the fruits, be it any other varieties of the crop, be it like cereals or anything. Okay, Charan. So be it any kind of the crop, for everything what it requires the water, right? The basic need. As a human, we also need the water. Same way as the crops, as a plant, they also need the water. Now, depending upon the crop and crop, it might vary that which plant or which crop they need the less water or they need the more water. So sometimes the rain, because of the rain, naturally the plants will be getting the water. But every time we cannot rely on those, right? The farmers cannot rely on them. Sometimes you might have seen, or you might have, I think, movies also there in Hindi. It's there, Lagan movie. I don't know, you might have seen Lagan movie. It's a Hindi movie generally. So there, it's related to the crop and all, and because of the rain, the crops get destroyed, right? So sometimes the severe rain also is a problem for the crops. So watering to the crop is basically known as the irrigation. So anyhow, the water should be given to the crops. It depends upon the modern method depends upon the traditional methods. If it is like modern, it means the present scenario. In the present scenario, what are the ways we are using? Those are the modern ones. But talking about the traditional ones, they are the older ones which use most of the time actually. The time they will be taking, they will be using the human power. And nowadays, what is happening, slowly and gradually we all are shifting to the kind of the machines rather than on the, depending upon the humans. Because humans can move on anytime, right? Like today I'm here, right? It may be next day, maybe I will be somewhere else. Like this, like anyone can move anywhere. The humans can do that, right? So they can change their mind. But in the case of the machine, can they change their mind? No, right? They cannot do that. They have to work according to the need of that person who has purchased that machine. Like mobile phone. If we have the mobile phone, it's running according to our wish. If we are talking, we want to talk, we will be talking. It's not like mobile phone is saying to you, you should not talk. Right? Never ever like that. Same way, both both are useful, Charan. Both are useful for that. So same way, what happens like the traditional way will be using much of our energy. That is why we have shifted to the modern methods where the machines will be there, any kind of equipments will be there, and that will be used. And but the use, why actually this irrigation is important? Why do you think so it is important? Yes, Nanika, Varshit, Charan, Amatul, Zubair, Gagna. One reason you all should tell me why it is important.
Ma'am, irrigation is important to provide water, and this water will have like minerals and also the transport of the minerals in the plant in general, ma'am.
Okay, then others,
Ma'am,
Like
yeah,
excess water or very less water can impact on the plant's growth.
okay. Then yes, Charan.
ma'am, irrigation is even useful on means many uneven land and where there is no water also.
Yes, correct. Then who else next? Yeah, Zubair, tell me.
Ma'am, irrigation is essential for the absorption of the nutrient element by the crop, ma'am.
Cor- correct. Right. So Nanika also has said the same thing as like Zubair. So true. Like the nutrients will be there in the water which are required for the plants, right? So the first thing is for doing the physiological processes. What do you understand by physiological processes? Like the photosynthesis, right? The photosynthesis you have in the plants and transpiration you have in the plant. Then moving up of the water in the plant is also the essence of sep that is required by the plant. So for doing all these physiological processes, what is needed? The water. So see, if the nutrients are there, nutrients from roots are going to the stems and then to the leaves through the stem with the help of the water only, right? So that is how the water is the basic important requirement for completing the whole process of photosynthesis, for completing the transpiration and the other process also. Same way, the water also help in the absorption of the minerals from the soil. So with the help of this, what happened? The absorption of the water will be there. The next thing is for the germination of seeds. So water is important for the germination. If no water, then no germination will be there. So for that, it is important. Then for the growth of the plant, it is needed. Then it protects the crops from the hot and the dry climate. Sometimes what happens, the climate is very hot. In that condition, you might have seen, the crops or might be the plants, they will get very dry, right? But if we give them the water, then they will be in the same condition, right? Nothing will happen. So for that also the water is important to protect them from the dry hot air currents. Like especially in the summer season, it happens like the plant will get dry and then they will not be able to produce the crop and all. So for that it is important. So if I talk about our country, in our country, almost like 18% of the agricultural land is fully irrigated. So somehow the other how like 18% of the land is irrigated, but 24% it is partially irrigated. And remaining 58% of land, what they should do? They are depending upon the monsoon season. Somehow they cannot arrange the water because still in so many villages the water facility is not available. So what they should do? They should depend upon the monsoon season, or else the second way what they can do the crop rotation. So one season they can use the crop where they will be requiring less water. The other season they can grow the crop where they require maybe a decent amount of the water. So that is how it is like, the fully irrigated, partially irrigated, and not irrigated at all, which is like 58% of the land is not, depends upon the monsoon for the irrigation process. So two major types of the irrigation are there, traditional ways and the modern ways. Children, turn on the video. Zubair, Kagna, Rudra, Sahiti, children, turn on the video. Why you should turn off the video? Yeah. Sai Karthik. So traditional ways and the modern ways, these are the two methods by which, the irrigation can be done. But yes, these two ways are very, very different from each other. Like, uh, I think in your home, I don't know, like whether you might have seen those phones, the big, big phones we used to come earlier times, like, and nowadays we have the small mobile phones, but earlier times when the mobile was started, during that time, the size of that mobile phone was used to be very, very huge, right? So can you tell me what was the disadvantage of those big mobiles actually?
Ma'am, it will
Mom,
be
you can't
hard
fit
for
them in your
holding,
pocket.
ma'am.
Right. We
Ma'am,
cannot carry them everywhere, right? Now, see, if I talk about the laptop, if I talk about the normal tablets, then what happened? The laptop is a little complicated to carry, right? Though we carry it because it is not so complicated, but yes, as compared to the tab, it becomes complicated to carry them every places, right? So same way, the bigger phones in the earlier times, it was very complicated. And traditional ways also used to be complicated because, there used to be human used to work, they used to pull the water out, they used to arrange the pulley kind of a system for the water to go in somewhere in the, in the crop area and all. So slowly and gradually, the shift of the technology, which is like, from the worst to somewhere we are reaching to the extent, is helping the people or is helping the person to think about the new things, right? So never ever like, we never thought like, okay, this kind of thing we can do it. It'll be better as compared to the before. But yes, now the people like you, the children like you are thinking in a different way, right? And you might have heard about the exhibitions also. The people are arranging the exhibition. In fact, the CBSE is also arranging every year the exhibition, the science exhibition where, and I think you might have seen the movie also, The Padman. Have you seen, any one of you have seen the movie The Padman? Akshay Kumar's movie Padman. If you have not
Yes,
seen,
ma'am.
then you can see that movie. Who said yes? Actually, Gagna. How was the movie? What it shows actually? What it tells us?
Mom, like the way he thought was not the same as the other people's.
Yeah, and moreover,
He
like
thought out of the box.
yes, he thought out of the box and he came up with the idea of making the pads, the sanitary napkins, which women or the girls they use during the menstrual cycle. And see, earlier time, I think you might not be aware, children, like you since you all belong to the modern society. So I'll tell you what happened earlier times. The women or the girls, what they used to do, they used to, during the menstrual cycle time, during the flow of blood time, they used to, take the cloths, the dirty clothes they used to use, and they used to keep it in the private area because the blood used to flow, right? They have to soak, the cloth used to soak that. Then once that cloth got over with that blood, got filled with the blood, what they used to do, they used to go for the other cloth and then they used to wash it and then again reuse it. Now imagine that, using that same cloth, dirty cloth, and washing it and again using it. Don't you think like the dust particles will be going? And second thing, it will be very unhygienic to use the same thing, right? In that case, what they used to do, the same thing, like, again and again, the same kind of the clothes, you were washing it, then using it. But certainly those microbes which are present inside, they never, they never washed away. So that's the reason that time the women used to get so many problems related to the health. But nowadays we have, like, so much varieties of sanitary napkin where the women or the girls, they are free to use, and it's like, free from the microbes also. Same way he did in the movie also, like, he educated everybody like how to use them and what variety of, like, the pad should be used. And he has, with, like, out of the box he thought, and he came up with the plan of the machine, the cotton which was filled inside the napkin. He researched on that through different process and all, and then he actually made one napkin, and he tried himself actually as a man. How he tried, he just took one bottle, that the glucose bottle will be there, right, in the hospital, the drip bottle will be there. So he took that bottle, he filled it with the blood, and then he just kept it under, like, in the private area, and then he started testing through that. So what happened immediately, like after some time, that got leaked from that bottle, the blood got leaked, and his this whole pant got, red. So he jumped in the water, and ultimately when he jumped in the water, what happened, the whole water also got spoiled by the blood. So his that plan was got flopped. And slowly and gradually, then he thought like this was the normal cotton what he used actually initially. Then he thought like something else might have been used inside that, because of which the blood was absorbed, actually it was used to be absorbed. Then he did research, he worked somewhere else to earn the money, and then he got to know that it was inside that napkin, it was like, the cellulose used to be filled, and because of that the blood used to be absorbed. Then he discovered some machines and all those things, and then finally he came up with the good napkins and all. And then he started selling the free of cost initially to test, actually, like, he used to go door by door asking every girl and all. And then one day, what happened? Like, he met on the road. He met one girl, and those girls actually were searching for the sanitary napkin, but they were not able to get it. So Akshay Kumar asked, like, are you looking for the sanitary napkin? Those girls said, yes, we are looking for that because we don't have it and we need it. So Akshay Kumar gave it. And the girls were like, shocked, like, how come he had it? So then the girls all left. The next day, he came back to that place and he asked those girls, like, how was it? So he was just wanted to know whether it was working appropriately or not. Then girl said, like, said it was a sanitary napkin and it should be the way how it is actually. So he said, okay, it was working properly. And the girl said, yes, it was working properly. So that is how, like, he got that sanitary napkin tested. And then one of his friend actually enrolled him to the exhibition where he exhibited his idea, his machine of making the pad. And from then, actually, he was known as a pad Tamil Nadu, Coimbatore. So Nadu, Coimbatore, still those machines are being used by the people, to make the sanitary napkin. So that is how actually it was. Fine. So traditional methods,
What's the
though,
movie's name, ma'am?
Pad Man, PAD Pad Man, MAN, Pad Man. It is very nice movie actually, a very decent movie, and you will be keep on laughing so much during the whole movie. It's a nice movie, so you can
Ma'am,
watch it.
on what, ma'am, is it on? Is it on
I need to check it. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Yeah, I think some OTT channel, I think Prime Video, you might see. I don't
Ma'am,
know
it
like
was on
where it is.
Netflix, ma'am. I found it right now. It's on Netflix.
Okay, it will be there. Yeah, Netflix, it will be there, and it is a very nice movie. You will be getting to know, like, how actually the pad what we are using, how it is made up of. So whole story is nice story actually. Okay. So traditional methods, that will be like, they will be using the animals for the work, for the humans for the labor purpose, they will be using it. And in this, different ways are there, like moat, chain pump, Bakley, and then Rahat. These are all kind of the varieties where the similar kind of the structures are being used. So I'll show you the video related to this thing. Just give me a minute. Just let me know, children, whether my screen is visible or not, the video is audible or not. Is it visible, the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is it audible?
Methods of irrigation. In this module, you will learn about different methods of irrigation. Water is essential for the germination and growth of crop plants. Water is supplied to agricultural fields either naturally through rainfall or artificially through canals or other systems. The artificial supply of water to agricultural fields is called irrigation. Irrigation can be done using different methods. Before learning about these methods, let us find out how irrigation is important for crop production. In the absence of rainfall, irrigation maintains the minimum amount of moisture required for crop production. It maintains proper growth of crops and helps to protect them against frost and hot air currents. The duration, time gap and amount of irrigation are determined by the type of soil and crop and also the season in which a crop is sown. Different methods of irrigation have been used since humans took to agriculture. The traditional methods of irrigation are a moat or pulley system, a chain pump system, dhekli system and rahat system. Of late, these methods of irrigation have been replaced with modern methods like sprinkler system and drip system. Let us learn about all these methods, starting with the traditional methods. A moat system is one of the simplest and
So see,
cheapest
this is a very simple way where you can see the cattle will be there. The
irrigation
cattle is actually, pulling up the water from the kind of the well kind of thing, and then they will be supplying it.
systems. In this, water is drawn from a well or water source by a bucket attached to a rope. The rope is passed over a pulley and fixed to an animal. The animal walks down an earthen slope away from the well to lift water.
So the far animals will be going, the more water they will be carrying up. They will be pulling it up.
The water is then emptied into a channel and the fields are irrigated.
See, this channel is then connected. You can see this, the pipe is basically connected to the field, and from there it will be, taken to the field.
In a chain pump system,
See, this is a chain pump where a kind of the same structure is there, a kind of the chain is there, but here instead of one bucket, there will be several buckets, and each and every bucket will be getting filled up, and then they will be. But here the problem is the human efforts are more.
two large wheels connected by a chain are positioned at an angle to each other. One wheel is near the source and the other is near the sink. One end
See,
of the
what is happening? The one is going down, and the other one is then throwing that water towards the field area,
chain
and then again
dips
going
into
down.
a pool of water.
See
The
carefully.
chain carries the buckets. As the wheel turns with the help of a shaft and handle, the buckets dip
See.
into the pool and draw water. The chain then lifts the buckets to the upper wheel, where they are tipped and dumped into an upper pool. The chain then carries the empty buckets down to be refilled. The water in the pool is then released by gates into channels, which act as artificial streams to water the crops. In the Hickley system of irrigation, water is drawn from a water source with the help of a log of wood placed on a fork-shaped tree for support.
So here in the bakery system, what is there? Log will be there, the wood log will be there, and through that the person will be actually uh, taking the
The
water.
log
It's like
is
a kind of
tied
a
to a
seesaw.
large stone
Seesaw will be there, like both the side the weight should be equal. The same way here, one side they will be keeping the stone, and the other side they will be keeping the bucket, and that person will be doing it.
which acts as a lever. A bucket is tied to the other end of the log. During irrigation, the rope tied to the bucket is pulled down so that the bucket goes into the water source and fills up with water. The bucket is again drawn up by pulling up the rope. The water is then collected manually and poured into the channels. Rahat's system of irrigation involves two wheels, one placed vertically over a water source, typically an open well, and the other placed horizontally at a distance. A belt of buckets is fixed to the first wheel and an ox, buffalo or camel is tied to the other wheel. As the animal pulls the wheel around in a circular motion, it sets in motion the first wheel with the buckets, which draw water from the water source and irrigate the fields. The traditional methods of irrigation are cost-effective but time-consuming.
So in this method, through this method, what we can do, we can save the money, but labor is increasing, the time is being increased actually, the energy is being used more. That is why the shift was there from traditional to the
Thus,
modern ways.
these methods have been replaced with drip system and sprinkler system. Let us learn about these two methods in detail. A sprinkler system is used in arid and uneven regions as an alternative method of irrigation. This system employs many perpendicular pipes.
So I think in your school you might have seen this sprinkle irrigation as well as a drip irrigation. So because most of the school you have the playground, right? In the playground they also need the water. The ground also need the water. For that case, the person cannot manually, give the water to that field. So what do they do in the center of that playground of the school? They will be keeping this structure, which is actually the pipe-like structure, like the kind of fountain, you can say
But
that.
mostly this
And
is found in the gardens.
yeah, gardens also you have, the parks you have, in the school playground you have. Yes, it is there. And like the museums you go there, you also will be finding out these kind of the fountain like structure, which will be sprinkling the water everywhere, like around near to the surface wherever it is. And it's not important that only one will be there, it can be many sprinklers at a time also. So you can see in this picture also two sprinklers are
With
visible.
rotating nozzles
And
and
on the top of the sprinkler, they have a nozzle. Nozzle is like kind of the opening. Like in the tap also we have the nozzle, right? To open and close it. Same way, them also the nozzle is there. So when we are opening the main power of that sprinkler system, then water will start and the nozzles will be starting rotating. Through that, the water goes out.
the top. Install
field.
connect lines
See, this is the
from the
main
main
aid will
water
be reached to all these dams.
tank. Water is conveyed under high pressure through the pipes with the help of a pump. The water comes out from the rotating nozzles in the form of spray, somewhat as rain. In a drip irrigation system, water is delivered at
See, this here in the drip
or near the
irrigation,
root
as the
zone of
name
crops
itself
drop
says,
by
drip. So here the water will be moving out drip by drip in the root area of that particular plant. So many pipes will be there. They will be connected perpendicularly. They will be connected to each and every, like wherever now they will be planting the crops and all. They will be making the hole so that the water can go directly into the soil, into the roots of it.
drop. A drip irrigation system is the most efficient system of
So
irrigation
why actually this
as there is
drip irrigation is the most effective rather than the sprinkler? What do you think, children? Why
Ma'am, less water
drip
wastage.
irrigation
The water
they
will
are
be
saying is
Water
directly
waste.
falling at the roots, ma'am.
correct?
Ma'am, and less water
Ma'am,
wastage.
ma'am, the
Yeah,
water
see,
will be distributed uniformly at the equal
correct.
distance.
Correct, Charan. Charan is correct. Uniformly distribution of the water will be there. Kagna is also correct. Less water. Rudra, what you
Ma'am,
said?
ma'am, I said that the water falls directly on the roots instead of falling any on the places where the plants are not there.
Correct, exactly. So what happens in the case of the drip irrigation? The water will be going directly into the roots instead of, sprinkling here and there. Because in the case of the sprinkler system, what happens? Though you have the plant or not, the water will be found like the fountain, it will be rotating, revolving and all. And then it might get waste. A lot of water is getting wasted in the sprinkler. But what happens? Drip irrigation is the most effective because of these reasons. But at the same time, drip irrigation will be taking some time, to reach the whole plant because it is going to the root. And second thing, in the case of the sprinkler irrigation, the upper part of the plant is getting more amount of water, right? Rather than getting the water reaching directly to the roots. But here, the lower part, the roots are getting directly the water, and through the roots, it is going to the top part of the plant. So that is why we say that these drip irrigation are more successful rather than the sprinkler one. So in this, they do not have the wastage of water, but in sprinkler, a lot of water will be getting wasted.
absolutely no wastage of water. This system is mostly used in areas with poor water availability. Both the modern systems of irrigation are costly but require less labor
So
and
since
time.
these are the modern ways, so they are definitely they have to be costly. Like if I talk about 2G, 4G, 5G, 5G is very costly. Same way, if you go for different varieties of the mobile phone, the more camera you are looking, good camera you're looking for, it will be more costly, right? Same way, the modern irrigation system are basically costly, but it takes less time actually because it will be reaching directly to it, and also it occupies the less labor. Humans are not needed for this kind of the work. The only first thing will be the installation. The installation will be done by the humans, and then once it is done, then directly just the person has to open the tap, close the tap, the main kind of the taps and all.
In this module you have learned
So that is about the modern
irrigation
and
is
the
the
traditional way, but I wanted to show you, yeah, just this actually, the systems. See how it is actually.
So this is the traditional rahat system.
See how it is actually. In reality, this is actually.
यहाँ से ये ये डब्बे हैं,
So
ये
here,
बॉक्सेस हैं,
in reality,
इनके अंदर पानी
it will be
भरता है
the Rahat system will be
और
looking
ये जब
like this,
पूरा व्हील जब
and
रोटेट
so
होता
many
है तो
buckets
पानी
like
धीरे धीरे
structures
ऊपर की
are
तरफ यहाँ
there.
पर आपको जाता है. अभी वो 1 मिनट इसको स्टार्ट करके भी दिखाएंगे हाउ इट वर्क्स. वो बांध रहे हैं.
See, the cattle is moving, the cow is
उससे पानी
moving,
जो
and
भरेगा
then the machine has been started, the Rahat machine has been started, and the water is
और ऊपर
from the
गिरता है
down, they are
पानी.
pulling it up, and the water is then going to the field. See how many buckets are there. It is required.
दो पुलिस बेल के कारण हुई है और और इस और ऐसे पानी आगे की तरफ मूव करता है और पानी आगे जाएगा उस बड़े से पॉन्ड में. ये बड़ा सा एक टैंकर है, इसमें पानी इकट्ठा होगा और यहाँ से फिर उसको पानी ले
See,
जाते हैं.
it's like a double thing they are doing it. They are taking the water using the labor, and then they are again collecting the water in the pond, and then from the pond they have to supply it to the different areas of the field.
So this is really आजकल ये सिस्टम देखने को नहीं मिलता. बस 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 हो गया बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. अच्छा नल चालू कर दो, खेत में चला जाएगा. और
See
यहाँ से
now.
नल चालू करके पूरा पानी खेत
So
में.
this is again a wastage of water actually.
अभी तो भर के कोई मतलब नहीं होगा.
दिखाने के लिए बनाए हैं, बाकी टूएल
अच्छा, ये दिखाने के लिए बनाया.
हाँ, कोई देखने आते हैं ना
अरे वाह.
उनके लिए.
So understood children how they are, like how do they work?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Zubair, Rudra, Sahiti, Gagna, Nayanika, Varshit, children.
Yes, ma'am.
Understood?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is about the irrigation. Writing part we will be doing in the next class. Okay. Now, what do you mean by water logging?
Stagnant water. Stagnant.
Stagnant water is exactly the water logging. You are somewhere correct.
No, ma'am, but it's like where basically you're storing water over time.
Stagnant water, if I use the word stagnant water, it means the water which is present for some time and we have not, moved it, right? Like, for example, if we are keeping the water maybe for the dogs or maybe for the birds and all, so that water maybe not is not being touched by anyone. Like, that is stagnant water. It has not been moved for maybe a day or two. Fine. When we talk about the water logging, there in that case, what happens? So much of water will be accumulated at a place, like during the rainy season, what happened, we will be seeing water logging had been happened. So it means the water is not flowing, it's not getting the way to move. Actually, maybe the drainage had got full with the dust and all, garbage and all, and because of that the water is being there on the roads, and that is why we say logging of water or water logging, right? In the case of the plants, water logging is the same thing, but the only thing happens that around the roots, the so much of water is being stuck there, it is not able to move, and because of that much amount of the water near to the roots, they will not be able to breathe and they might die also. Clear? That is what water logging in the case of the crop production. So first thing what will happen, they will be not getting sufficient amount of the breath to inhale, and second thing, the increased amount of salt will be there in the soil, because of which the soil fertility of the soil can be reduced.
Ma'am,
Fine, children? Yeah, tell me.
waterlogging means water sewage.
Water sewage is different. Water logging is somewhere the water has been stuck and it is not able to move.
Okay.
Sewage water is something else. Sewage water, can be with a wastewater treatment plant, we can, change it. We can convert it into the good water also. And dust, impurities and all we can remove. So any doubt, Rudra, Nayanika, Gagna, Charan, Varshit, Saiti, and Subhay?
No, ma'am.
No doubt.
Okay. So if you have time during your vacation time, you can watch the movie Padman. It's a nice movie related to your chapter 8 also, not 8 exactly, reaching the age of adolescence, which is I guess somewhere the chapter 10 or 9. Fine. So for that chapters also it is like, useful. So you can watch that movie. You will be enjoying it. Okay, children then?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay,
Okay,
children
ma'am.
then. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, children. Thank you.